And now it's the sound. See, Joe, this is what happens. Can you guys hear us now? Can you guys hear us now? Shovel? Yes.
Sure ain't.
Can you guys hear us now?
You mining or something?
Okay, cool. We have sound. We have sound.
Cool. So, take two. That means there was no sound. No.
Glad it's empty.
There's no sound. So nobody heard me shout like a man. All right, once again, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you want to support this channel, go to the link in the description below. Support my channel, support me monthly, and you can basically donate every month through debit order 40 Rand, and if you do it for 6 months, you get a hat from Rebel Store, any hat of your choosing, and this could be one of them. All right, 6 months, 40 Rand. That's all you have to do. You can still become a member on my YouTube channel, but it's a bit more expensive, 60 Rand, but if that's what you want to do, that's also fine. And there's other ways to donate to the channel, as you see there on the screen. Just go to the link provided in the description. So today is Future of Tech. It is the first episode of our series, The Future of Tech, and today we're going to be talking about travel and transport. And Jannie has been researching day and night for 2 weeks, non-stop, trying to find all the little tech goodies, and he's got it for us here. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, my sidekick, the less handsome one of the two of us, Jannie van der Vault, is here.
How's it going, guys? How is my audio? Because I now don't know which mic is being used here. We like really tried something weird 5 minutes before the stream started. Can you guys hear me fine? Yes or no? And then
yeah, I can hear that.
It does sound good because I can hear myself.
Yeah.
By Reese. Okay, cool. So, Joe, travel and transport. We really had to try hard not to include space travel in this one today, because space travel is a whole separate section for us, which is going to be really exciting. But for now, we were sticking to things around planet Earth. And one of the first things that I wanted to kind of focus on for the guys that do remember, and I want to get my screen in there we go. For the guys that do remember, was the Concorde. Like, who remembers the Concorde that got decommissioned, I think, 20 years ago?
Me.
About. I would have loved to fly on a Concorde. It was one of the world's fastest commercial jets at the time, and there's a reason why I kind of want to mention that, because the Concorde's been developed, like, I think in the 1960s, like almost 1970s somewhere. That's like 50 years ago, where we oh wait, no, that's confusing. So that was developed like 30 years ago, and thanks, Mr. Punisher. And that just tells us that, how important it was for us to speed up travel, and to travel more efficiently, faster, whatever. So even 50 years ago, traveling from, like, let's say London to New York, which is like an 8-hour flight, that was just too long. So, or a 10-hour flight, that was just too long. So the Concorde was kind of like one of those engineering masterpieces, I guess. But Air France flight, I think 4590 was when the Concorde crashed, and in June of 2000. And from there on, I mean, it was just never trusted again, and it was very expensive, and it got decommissioned a good 2-3 years after that. But I think air travel for me was just important, because nothing really significantly impressive has happened in air travel lately that has blown us away like what the Concorde did at the time. I mean, just a ticket to fly on the Concorde from London to New York was, like $7,500 US, whereas now, adjusted with, like, 2021 inflation, it's about 12,500, $13,000 US. But I mean, that's like a return ticket. That's very expensive. I mean, we don't pay that type of money to go overseas, but you would fly there in less than 3 hours, So that was, I think, the last time I think we saw something really cool from an air travel perspective, because the planes that we have today, the Airbuses and whatever, they're all great, they're massive, but we're not seeing
advances in speed.
Exactly. So, I mean, there are some ideas the guys are playing with now where they're saying, you know, should people be standing up, and should you, like, I don't know how you're going to stand for 8 hours when you're flying, but should people be standing up? Or is there a different, you know, orientation in how we should be flying, like sleeping in pods or whatever? But I mean, there's nothing significant for me in the air travel space at the moment, other than them just trying to be more efficient.
To be honest, if the pod thing was implemented, I'd do it. Like,
yeah, to fly and sleep for like 12 hours. You'll wake up rested, you won't have jet lag.
No, well, yeah, that, but even like flying from Cape Town to Joburg, I'd even do that, like a pod for 2 hours.
Yeah, and you just won't.
You won't feel it.
Feel it.
Yeah.
Because that for me is one of the worst flights, though, is when you fly for 2 hours somewhere. 2 hours is just enough to make you tired, but not enough to do anything else. You can't even watch a movie. But I think the advances that there is in travel or air travel today is they are working on efficiencies. I've seen them now, you know, working on electric engines for the planes. They've started testing that. But again, it's all around efficiency, being more green, etc., etc. There's nothing spectacular for me. But I kind of just wanted to spend a little bit of time around the Concorde, because I mean, I think that was just an amazing piece of technology, flying at, you know, twice the speed of sound, you know, 2,100 whatever kilometers an hour. And that's something that I would have just loved to experience. And
I don't mean to be a downer on your parade, but Concorde is not the future.
No. We need to look at how long ago we started at wanting to improve on travel, and I kind of just wanted to spend a little bit of time on the Concorde.
Okay.
Because it is, for me, one of those engineering models.
To understand the future, we must understand the past.
Agreed.
Okay. One of those things.
And I see Gentle Inflatable's question. The first part of your question is right, the second part of your question is wrong. So I think to move on, something that is really exciting about travel, and it is really going to speed up where travel is going to, is the Hyperloop. Now, before we start digging into the Hyperloop, a lot of people, even a couple of years ago when Elon Musk started with the SpaceX program and privatizing, obviously, spaceflight and stuff, he was, a lot of people believed in that he would be able to do it, because using like reusable rockets that would go and land in the middle of nowhere, I mean, that is just engineering ingenuity, I think, that was 12 years ago unimaginable. And look at where it is today. I mean, last year they sent the first people to space. So I mean, there again is a company that I think was pushing the boundaries of what is capable in terms of space travel in that sense. But now we also have this initiative that started in 2014 called the Hyperloop between Virgin, so Richard Branson from Virgin Airlines, they call it Hyper One. It's an open source type of design, so you know, they were kind of encouraging that a lot of let's say individuals gets involved, or independents gets involved in this, you know, Hyperloop type of technology. And subsequent to that, Elon Musk from SpaceX, they've all been involved, and they're all trying to do their thing within the same technology that's now called the Hyperloop. Now, what Hyperloop is, and it is essentially sending a pod, like what's in that little picture at the bottom there, sending like that little pod in a vacuumed tube at very, very high speed. Now, how they achieve that is obviously sucking all the air out, so there's no resistance in that tube, and it uses magnetic levitation. Now, magnetic levitation, or maglev, is not a new technology. You know, those bullet trains and things you've seen in Asia and whatever, they've used that for years, where they you know, have used the magnetic levitation technology to run their rail system, etc., because it doesn't have any parts that's really touching the rails, whatever. So it's very low friction, it's very efficient, and they achieved obviously very high speed with that. But take that technology and couple it with a frictionless environment like what they have with Hyperloop, you can achieve travel from something that take you 8 hours down to 30 minutes. All of
30 minutes.
And you are doing that highly efficient because you don't need a lot of energy spent to move something through a vacuum, and you.
But if it's in a vacuum, how do they move it?
So magnets. So what happens with magnets? So
But I get that. But like, how do you move them? How do you move something if there's nothing to move it?
Okay, so imagine a start and a destination, though, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the spot goes. That's where people get in or whatever. Then that gets sealed. Then it gets depressurized.
Yeah.
Then they open up the hyperloop chamber because you don't want to depressurize the hyperloop the whole time because you're talking about kilometers of pipe that you need to now vacuum the air out of it. You open up that tunnel. Then you don't need air to move because else you can't have space travel. I mean, we are traveling to space with no air around us. But how it moves is now there was different technologies that kind of like started. They were pushing air around it, etc. But they kind of like settled on, like I'm saying, magnets now. So what happens is you've seen two magnets. When you put two magnets, opposing magnets, they kind of like repel each other.
Yes.
So they're doing that at a very high speed. So it keeps on like falling over itself, repelling itself the whole time. But as you do that, it kind of like speeds it up. And with the same frequency, you can kind of like slow it down again as well. So you have this natural experience where you're traveling at a little faster than the speed of sound, 1,200 kilometers an hour, but you don't feel it moving.
I was going to ask.
Taken, gradually ramped up, flying through the air, gradually ramped down.
So but like when you get to top speed, you don't feel like the G forces.
Because you're not accelerating anymore. The only time you'll feel G forces is if you're accelerating and your body is fighting the natural state that you're supposed to be in. But if you're slowly accelerating, I think if you get onto the highway though, right, and you're getting into a fast car, any car, if you go onto the highway and you don't floor it and you just gradually build up speed, you don't feel that you're picking up speed. The same thing's going to happen here. So they'll do that obviously to make it more convenient and comfortable for the passengers, but it'll gradually just build up speed. You won't know that you're building up speed, and the same thing will slow down on the other end, and you'll get out.
So why the massive seatbelts?
Why the massive seatbelts?
Yeah.
Because in the picture on the top right, that little animated GIF that's there, that is the CEO and the Chief Technology Officer for Virgin Hyper One. So Hyperloop got rebranded.
CEO is the woman, right?
CTO is the woman. The CEO is the guy.
Sexist.
And why is that sexist? I think it's good that we have a Chief Technical Officer woman in such a funky job. I want her job, but anyway, the cool thing about this is the guys have now come up with some really clever ideas, because if you think about it, think about a railway station now though, right? And let me skip to the next one because I want the people to kind of like start seeing that. But if you think about a railway station and you think how it looks, there's only like 2 or 3 railroads running, but there is 50 trains standing, like parked in like the little forks that box all the trains. The Hyperloop will work the same. So you'll have the loop being in use at a specific point in time, but then there is very cool ways in when the pod comes out on the other side, how it rotates and where people get on, get off, because this won't work like you booking a flight ticket and you have to be there at 10:30. This will work like a bus stop, dude. You hop on, hop off type of thing, and then off you go. The nice thing about it is you'll have the ability to do this as a daily commute, without having to go through the worries of booking, going to the airport, checking in, this, that type of thing. It'll just be hard to speed up. So in this example, what you're seeing here is you could live in 2 different cities. So, Pretoria, Joburg is probably not what I want to say here. I'm going to say Cape Town, Durban, Cape Town, Joburg. You could live in Cape Town but work in Joburg and get to Joburg within 10 minutes by taking Hyperloop.
Well, it says that the plane takes 4.5 hours, so it's even more than Cape Town and Joburg. It's probably it's even more than I think flying from Cape Town to Namibia is about 3.5.
It's 2 hours.
Or 2 hours. There
Cape
you
Town to
go.
Namibia is 2 hours, yeah. Cape Town to Namibia, Joburg, Cape Town's like a triangle. It's all about 2 hours.
Okay, so just on that animation alone, if it takes half the time to get by plane to get from Cape Town to Joburg, then half the time of 28 minutes.
15 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So 15 minutes, and you're in Joburg. Somewhere at a station, obviously you'll then need to Uber or whatever to get to where you want to get to.
Then you and I could visit like all the time.
Exactly. Come over for a braai. That's how cool it is.
And then Ronaldo can also join.
Exactly. So Ronaldo, if you're listening, there's a super spreader. But the cool thing about this is, if you look at this, is we have planes, trains, and cars. That's been what we've been used to,
Yeah.
for travel and transport.
Train is probably the
whatever.
oldest form in those.
Yeah, 100%.
Examples.
And if we think about it, even the automobile, I think, in the last 100 years have been one of our best, I think, technologies that's meant the most to us. I mean, air travel and whatever is all there and good, but cars, everybody has a car. Like, there's cars everywhere. It plays a very important role. But again, so for me, this is like, you know what? I know when this stuff got spoken about 5, 6, 7 years ago, people were saying is, it's impossible, it's not going to happen, whatever. On the 20th or the 15th of November, somewhere in November 2020 last year, so guys, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that top picture that I had in the previous slide with the CTO and the CEO, they did the first manned Hyperloop trip in the Virgin Active, they call it the Death Loop. That is like their test track, so to speak. That's in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and they have this small Hyperloop that's built there where they went for their first little trip. The Hyperloop is small, it's like short, like a 500 meter or kilometer or something, but it doesn't really matter. They proved the concept that it's possible. Now it's a case of just repeating that and doing that at scale. So,
but would this be an underground thing?
It could be, but it doesn't have to be though, because from most.
No, I saw the pictures. Yeah, I saw the
all
pictures.
been built above ground. Yeah.
But then, would it be something that's like? So it only obviously connect major cities at the time being. It wouldn't be like in our suburbs or whatever.
No, you're not going to use this as the hot train or as something to go between suburbs. This is typically something that.
So you would still need a car to get to the Hyperloop.
Yeah, or
you would still need to Uber to get to the Hyperloop bus stop. You see, that's not technology for me. That's not future. That's just stupid.
Why do you say that?
I think if this is going to be out for the masses, then everyone should be able to maybe buy a pod and then just have their pod in their garage that somehow drops to the underground, links up to a Hyperloop section, goes where they need to go.
We need to just have a flying car, though.
Is that our next topic?
Then we can just have a flying car. There is some companies that is doing flying cars, though.
Yeah.
So I just think this is really cool because this is technology that has come out over the 6 years. It's flying. That has come over in the last 6 years, and that has really shown that it's progressed because, like I say, a lot of people have shut down what Elon Musk was doing 12 years ago.
I think JC McFarland is eating the cake that I'm eating, to be honest.
Imagine hyperlooping from your home. I can also imagine that, but we're also in 2021, guys. We need to look at what we are going to see in our future, at least. So I think Hyperloop is cool because it exists today.
Yeah, but I get it. Cool technology. I get why you're excited about it. I get the proof of concept. Let's go into the because I'm gonna show you how insignificant this thing is when you move on to the other stuff.
With flying cars.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have a slide on flying cars though.
Why?
Because there is no flying cars.
But you said that they've just been trying to do it.
No, there's companies that's trying to do it.
Yeah.
Like this is early days. Like there's no flying cars.
I've seen images recently.
It's images.
And a flipping car that actually flew.
It's images.
No, video.
Let's go to. Now we need to wait for this one to finish.
2 weeks of researching and.
I know it's terrible. But talking about electric cars, so or let's just talk about the automobile. Like I said, the automobile was arguably for me one of the most important inventions over the past 100 years, because um, it's kind of like touched everybody in a way that there's a lot of people that I know today that's never ever flown or ever even been in a train, but they've been in a car. I mean, cars have really touched everybody. But where that's heading to, if you look at technology, though,
See, Mr. Punisher didn't even research and he knows.
Dubai is a flying taxi. Really? I want to see that. I don't know that. I don't know everything. I'm sure there is some flying technology car then out there. Then
you wonder why I'm giving you a hard time, because you shot me on live YouTube broadcast.
You contracted my wife to shoot me on how many other live streams?
That wasn't me. That was the audience.
You contracted.
That was the audience.
My wife.
We're getting sidetracked. Future tech now.
But if we look at where the car technology is, like if we look at just what has changed over the last 20 years in cars, we've seen cars go from luxury cars that had, keyless entry and keyless starts and all the fancy features, to that's almost like common in almost every car at the moment. So you can use that cloth, Joe. I see the little gears is going there. In case you guys didn't know, Joe is making a mess on my table.
Continue with your conversation.
So there has been no real, developments within cars for me in the last 20 to 30 years, but electric cars have been standing out. Now, I'm not necessarily in support of that. I'm a petrol head. I want to smell fuel burning, and I'm in support of fossil fuels. But electric cars have been growing over the last, let's say, six years. We've had hybrid cars. Let's exclude hybrid cars. Let's exclude the Priuses and whatever. But electric car sales, if we look at 6 years ago, 2014, global car sales was like a little over 300,000 cars per year, whereas in 2019 that went up to 2.3 million electric cars per year, and it's expected in 2025 that it'll go up to 10 million electric cars. So
So in other words, the future of cars is electric.
It is electric, but I'm not, like I'm saying, I don't think that is going to be where it ends, because I think where the electric cars are starting to play a role now is with the driverless cars, that type of stuff that we've seen, and there's been some self-driving car companies out there. One of which is the most one of the more well-known ones is called Waymo, and I've actually had colleagues that I work with that's traveled to the US and that's used the Waymo service when they were in the US, and it was driverless. At the time, it was like being beta tested, so it did have a driver sitting there, but he was like hands off, and the car was like doing all of its own things. But again, that's technology that I think will only really progress fully driverless cars when you start getting smart cities and more driverless cars and smart cars around you, because there's a lot of sensory information that the car needs to process to kind of like stay safe, because that car needs to deal with human beings driving around it and making mistakes or making decisions that a driverless car now needs to make, like whose life do you save?
It reminds me of I, Robot, that movie with Will Smith. And there's a few scenes where he's driving, he's getting into his car, and it's the car is driving everyone. And I remember he gets into an accident, and his captain or his boss or whatever was like, "Why were you driving manual?" Like it almost like implied that like people don't drive their own cars at that time in that future era. Very few people drive their own car.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it will go. My question is, though, will we get flying cars before driverless cars are the norm? And before you answer that, I want to address JC McFarlane, who said something about there it is. Do we need a pilot license for a flying car. I don't think so. Here's why. I think the cars are going to be designed in a way that are obviously going to be very user-friendly to fly, and you will get a flying car license, basically. So like you have a driver's license, the flying car will obviously have, they'll reassess, I imagine, or reimagine the rules of flying. Obviously, there will be designated areas where cars can fly. And I don't think, by the way, I don't think when we think about flying cars, I don't think we're going to have flying cars in the sense of like, we can go over buildings or fly too high, because remember, planes are still going to be
There's also that
around.
airspace. The airspace, I think, below 500 meters is that uncontrolled airspace kind of, you know. So I think flying cars will only be able to operate within that airspace and only in designated areas, so that you don't have the risk with planes, helicopters, that type of thing.
So I mean, we're not going to be able to just fly wherever we want to go. You're still, it's almost, so in that way, like I think speed will be the difference, but I don't know if you can really take shortcuts when you have a flying car. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe.
It also depends on how it works, though. Does it work on some form of a levitation or hover type of technology? So you need something to fly or ride or whatever, or hover on top of.
The ones I've seen have fans.
So hover technology. So you see, hover technology is something that could potentially then just go everywhere. So here again is I don't think flying cars is the future. Flying cars is the future that space.
You think your Hyperloop is the future?
No, because no. But why? What problem will flying cars solve? It could solve congestion, because I thought about that. Flying cars could solve congestion because you all of a sudden now have the ability to fly above other people and whatever, like wherever you need to get to, you'll just fly a little bit higher. So you won't have lanes just going left to right, but you'll also have lanes going top to bottom. So flying cars could solve that as like an easy.
You know what? Sorry, but speaking about the test, right? That's going to be a bitch. I'm sorry, because think about your driver's license test. How you had to look left and right in the rear view mirror.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a flying car, you're going to have to look left, right, up, down.
And you'll need to ask the air traffic controller to reverse out of my driveway, you know? So 100%. So again, which is why I'm thinking is that was for me a movie technology possibly. I still think where electric vehicles are heading to, well, it's the reason why electric vehicles are important. It's because of its efficiency, and you can have driverless cars would fit better with electric vehicles than with fossil fuel vehicles, because now you're going to need to have that car go and fill up all the time. You're taking things out of its way, whereas rather with electric cars you just don't have that type of problem. That's where I think electric cars is going to support that in the future, because driverless cars in the future for me is much better, where we don't have to worry about cars anymore, because then you kind of like go to the next version of Uber. So you don't have to worry about a car. You'll just get that cab. I'm going to go here now. There's always cars you can hop on, hop off.
Oh, you think it's going to go there? Where people don't own cars, but like cars are just like there for anyone to use. Do you know how unhygienic that is?
Talking about COVID, yes, it is. But I mean,
no, not even in a C19
taxi or something. Like even if you.
Yeah, exactly. So now every car becomes a taxi.
Probably
you don't have your own space. You don't have like.
Yeah,
so what if you want to play music? You want to play your own music?
Doesn't matter. In a world where everything works like that, when you get into the car, it'll know, hey, Joe, Emilio, can I put on your favorite?
That's freaky. I don't know.
iTunes or whatever, and there you go.
Any car.
Why not?
Is there just a thing that's kind of freaky?
You kind of have it today in your car anyway, and even if you get into the Uber, the guy asks you what channel do you want to listen to, and you tell him, I want to listen to 94.7.
Yeah, maybe.
So
maybe it's the human
interaction. 100%. But I mean, now when you're in the driverless car, why can't the car be aware of who you are? Because you have a profile, the car will know who you are. When you touch the door, when you enter the car.
I see what you're saying.
Like
okay,
that.
So like it's like a Uber.
It goes all against the discussion we had around data privacy and all that stuff, because none of that will be possible in a world where we don't share our privacy.
Yeah, well, we discussed that nothing's going to stop that.
No.
Jeez.
But think about it though. Think about just driverless cars. Even in a world where driverless cars aren't just like taxis.
No, but
think
you
about
see-
it. Like, what if you get to the mall? You just get to the mall, you get out, and your car leaves and goes and parks. And as you want to leave the mall, you like tell your car, "Come fetch me." And the car will come fetch you. You get in, and off you go again. Like,
Okay, well, this is the thing I'm worried about, right? So if you can just take down the comments.
Sorry.
The one I'm worried about is getting into a car, and then it gives me attitude, basically. So like I'm like, hey, I want to go to McDonald's, for example, and then the car is like, do you really think you need to get McDonald's right now? You went 3 times this week.
So that'll be an add-on, I guess, because
An add-on. When you download the health app, do you want to integrate this into your car?
Yes, no. Do you want Uber Eats to synchronize with your car? Yes. No, but I think again, and even if you look at the technology today, whenever you build like bots or all kinds of things, those bots are built with a persona. I don't think driverless cars in that way is going to be built with a cheeky persona. Unless that's possibly what you want. I mean, again, it could be. It could be that when you get into the
Well,
car,
I mean, like
it has a female
AI,
voice. When I
which
get
we
into the
will
car,
talk about in the future of these episodes. But I mean, if you have an AI system that's constantly learning and learning human behavior, because like we just said now, you made a perfect example of like when you get into a taxi, now the guy asks you, what kind of music do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to music at all? So obviously we'll try, I imagine humans will try and make it a little bit more comfortable, for humans to use the technology. So there will be, I think, some form of like a robot but like no hands or anything, just like a figure in the driver's seat that just asks you questions or whatever, just to make it feel a little bit more.
but why does it have to have a driver's seat though? Because remember,
Then a voice,
what if you
a
want,
voice that
no,
comes
there could
from,
be a voice. There could be a Siri sitting on the screen somewhere or whatever.
but that's
100%.
AI, and then
Yeah, that assistant, that person that's there, that digital person. That's there. No, I agree with you, because I think in that ultimate reality where driverless cars is as common as yellow cab taxis, you would want to make sure that you have enough space in the car as possible. So 3 seats in the front, 3 seats in the back, you seat 6 people, type of thing. Again, why does cars seat 2 people and 3 people in the back? It's been designed like that because our roads are only this big. But if you're in a world where you don't have, cars can be as big as they need to be, you don't have to worry about parking, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can just have small cars, big cars.
We
I
don't
guess
live in
I
that
don't
world,
know.
Yanni. That's why I'm still stuck in the old.
Exactly, and that's why I wanted to build up to having this specific conversation, because I think for the last 50 years, whether we kind of acknowledged it or not, we've always wanted to improve on the way how we move around, whether
Yeah.
it is from here to Cape Town or from here to New York. We want to do that faster, because even today, like, why don't we go to New York for a holiday? Well, one, maybe you don't have money, but 2, it takes you freaking 2 days to get there. You're jet lagged, then you need like 2 days to recover. Then
I hear you.
now you can do all of that in 15
But
minutes.
here's another dilemma which anti-Marxist has brought up, and I put it up on the screen, and let me know your thoughts.
So anti-Marxist is saying, John Emilio, all the car says it's after curfew, not allowed to go out, or the government made up a regulation that you're not allowed to go where you want, and the car is programmed to obey. So that is interesting though, because now we are assuming that the government owns those cars, because they won't. So okay.
The government doesn't
But
own
now-
Facebook.
No, and that's what I wanted to say. So now a big tech company is becoming a problem. So now while we have big tech companies, we have big car companies. Because where is it going to transition to? Just think about it like this. Today, you go to a Shell, you go to Engine, you go to a Sasol garage. What is there? There's fuel stations to fill up fuel, and there's a little shop to buy bread and milk and whatever.
Yeah.
But in a world where we don't have fossil fuel, what happens to those guys? They need to ship or shape. So
Well,
statistically, did you know that Shell is the one company in the world that sells the most Coca-Cola?
I think
Because all the Shells around the globe. So Shell's method of income is not just to sell fuel.
yeah,
They
it's the
differentiate
Shell.
themselves by selling Shell V-Power or whatever additive they have that makes their fuel apparently more special. They can't make the energy that they're going to charge your Tesla with more special because they can't have supercharged electrons or whatever. That technology is what it is. So, they will also need to evolve into something.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So tech companies, from a tech company perspective, like cars, the Toyotas, the BMWs we know today, they're going to be the guys that owns this. So in anti-Marxist question, which is a good question, it's interesting. So now we are saying is, okay, so now there's new laws that we don't know about yet that these cars need to abide to because of a government restriction or something.
So what if there's an emergency and you need to take your wife to hospital, but now because of the regulation, you can't have a car, yet cars are supposed to, because you must understand something, and it's going to get a bit political now, but when you start saying that you want a world, not that I'm saying you want a world, but when people start saying that they want a world where cars now are accessible for everybody gets a car, you can just use your Uber app and now you can just get a car on demand and stuff like that, and everybody uses it. Then you get that whole conversation about oh, now it's my right to have a car, right? But then you get into this position where anti-Marxist is saying if there's another pandemic or whatever happens in the future and the governments want to now put down these laws, you have an emergency, you now need to prove to the car that it's an emergency so that it's essential, and you're relying completely on AI, and I'm willing to bet there's going to be failures.
I'm willing to bet that at that time, when your wife, whoever that you need to take to the shop or to take to the doctor, would have some form of something that would have medically informed the doctors already that you have a situation. And you arguing with the car is going to be the last problem that you have because they might have already dispatched an ambulance flying car to your house or something.
We're also going to do an episode on medicine, so obviously Jannie knows something I don't.
Well, that's
the future of
technology
medicine
has enabled first responders to be way more efficient with drones. We can touch on that in that episode, but I mean, I've seen that in real life.
Yeah.
Where while the ambulance waits for you, you send a little drone with the little shock machine thingy and a guide to help you shock a person. So I mean, that tech is out today, but that's what I'm thinking. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think we're going to have that problem. I think the other problem is they will know that that's going to happen possibly before you have a situation.
Okay. Well,
but that's probably one example that we're arguing now. What if you really just need to go somewhere and the car doesn't allow you? I'm sure there's going to be somebody's car that you could jailbreak or sideload some funny app that allows it to bypass lockdown.
Jailbreak.
Root it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, so flying cars, anything else on that we didn't touch on?
No, I had a list of cars that I wanted to bring up, but I've lost that screen now, so I'm not going to hunt for it because we're going to cause nonsense. But talking about the self-driving
cars, you can look for it. I can punt my stuff.
There is, okay, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for Jannie to do his thing, let me also just say, don't forget to go and subscribe to this channel. That is for free. If you want to support this channel and you like its content, trust me, there's a lot of content on this channel. You can support the channel by donating either monthly, you can sign up for a debit order, or you can just donate whatever you want. And if you go to the links provided in the description below, you will see a link that goes to my website where you get all the different options. You can donate as much as you like, 10 Rand, 100 Rand, 1,000 Rand, up to you. Or you can become a member through the website as well, where it's 40 Rand a month. And after 6 months, you get to choose a hat that is available on Rebel Store, any hat, and you could get one of these if you wanted to. And then you still can become a member on this channel through YouTube, but it's a little bit more expensive. And don't forget the super chat function is working, so you can also donate right now through that. Feel free to do so. And yeah, don't forget to just go browse www.rebelstoreza.com. A link is also in the description below. Thank you, and it's greatly appreciated. Everyone that supports, and like I said, subscribing to this channel is free. And I'm running out of things to say as Yanni's looking. So
no, I'm waiting for you to see how well you promote your merch. Have you told people about the new shirt that's not available yet?
No, I haven't.
I have access to it.
Yeah,
I know a guy.
Yanni stole it, to be honest.
I got it from a guy.
You stole it. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but anyway. This is one of our promotional attire that we are doing to promote the tobacco industry, the tobacco farming industry. What it says is, when people don't Zol, 200,000 people lose their jobs. So it's in. So you may not know, and we'll have more information about this later. But for those of you who don't know, the fight against tobacco or tobacco ban is still happening. But I will have someone on the channel to talk about that, and this is our shirt to kind of help promote awareness. So you can support by, again, going to rebelstoresza.com. This shirt isn't available yet, but it will be this week. So keep your eye out.
Cool. So I didn't find the link that I had open, but I did quickly search for the flying car that was Mr. Banisha that said that flying car.
Yeah.
I saw this, but I didn't. I looked past it because it looked like a drone to me. That's why I didn't.
It does look like a drone.
It does look like a drone. Is this the one you spoke about, Mr. Banisha?
Because you can't see it because you're not sharing.
Oh no, I know I'm not sharing it. Is this the one you were talking about, Mr. Banisha?
You're still not sharing it.
Oh, I'm still not sharing it. What a noob. What a noob. There we go. Let's unmute this. Is this the one? We have to wait for the delay. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. This space, let's call it the drone space, is like the Wild West at the moment. So can we really call this a flying car, or is this now stepping into aviation?
It actually looks like a helicopter.
It does, but nothing wrong with that. If that's what the future means for flying cars, all great.
No, I disagree that this is a car. I'll tell you why. In my opinion, a flying car should have the option of also driving on land. And that car won't be able to do that.
Fold in like the one that James Bond had that would go into the water.
I think most cars of the future would, at least at the beginning, have that as an option just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's like but I mean, there's guys that's done some really amazing like backyard projects that works, like single-seater, self-built drones and whatever. Whether that could be seen as a flying car is debatable, because
it's an ungraded helicopter. Nice.
Because that thing flies. The car also flies. So that goes back. I mean, I agree with you. I think when that becomes a reality,
it's not that one.
The problem we'll solve with licensing is, but it's not a flying car. It's not that one, but it's similar. So there could be a different version of this. I don't know how old this is. This was shown at some expo in 2020.
It's not a car.
But that's not a car.
It's not.
See, flying cars. I'm thinking, was it Fifth
Element?
Fifth Element. Like those are flying cars.
Yeah, well, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's flying.
I haven't watched it yet. I need to. I know.
For those of you who don't know, we're doing a Star Wars special because May 4th actually falls on a Tuesday. So we thought, hey, let's do a Star Wars special on the May 4th. The challenge is that Yanni has to watch all the Star Wars movies.
And I haven't watched all the Star Wars movies.
Because he's a noob.
And it's not because I'm a noob. I just never had the time. Because sometimes I'm playing Xbox or something. So I will watch all the
You
Star
have
Wars
the time
movies.
to watch Avengers.
Yeah, but that was fun because Avengers came out in my lifetime. Star Wars came out.
Star Wars
sometime
is
before I
available
was
in your
even
lifetime.
born.
It's available though. It's available.
I will watch it. I know. I will watch it.
I'm worried he doesn't like it. Then it's going to be an
No, I
interesting
will like it.
conversation.
I will like
on
it.
Yeah, but it's going to make for an interesting conversation on.
I suppose it would, but I will like
Yeah.
it because I've watched Mandalorian and I love that, and I've watched some of the last Star Wars. I
There's
just
so
never
much
watched
you
them.
don't understand in Mandalorian because you
I know.
haven't watched.
You've told me
movies.
that the last time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I will watch all of them
Don't
in the right order.
Okay, wait. We're gonna now get into a whole nother conversation. All right. Flying cars, future of tech. We have about 10 minutes left. What else is there?
No.
Future of
We went a
travel.
little bit faster than what I thought.
In other words, Jannie didn't prepare properly.
Yes. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, guys. Joe kept me busy.
Well, no. That sounds so wrong.
That's what you said.
All right. So, what's our next episode about? Where's this mouse?
Our next episode is about, let me check on your channel. I forgot.
Very professional channel. Just go to the left or the right. Sorry, of the upcoming streams. There we go.
Oh, space travel. Yes.
Space travel. Okay, I remember now because we wanted to
Segue.
we wanted to segue into space travel because we didn't mention space travel here because that's a whole nother.
Because we just landed on Mars
Yes.
with a little drone. We as the human race, not we as South Africa. Or we as me and Joe.
The only thing
we
South
as
Africa's
the-
managed to land on is a turd.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. So next is going to be space travel, and we have warfare coming up. The future of warfare. We also have the future of biotech. We have the future of robotics. We have the future of medicine. And we have the future. I think robotics is our last one. It's personally one that I'm really looking forward to. But I'm looking forward to all of them, especially the biotech one as well.
I'm wondering why you want a robot, Joe.
I can't say it on this channel. I'll be judged.
Cool.
Okay.
Here we go. Come here, Joe. Oh wait, I'm there. And we're back. Are we not back?
Okay, we're back.
I didn't know. Why are you being like this? I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Let me just put the phone.
I don't know. We had like a mini load shedding moment. Basically, the power went out for like, I don't know, what, 10 seconds?
Yeah, like everything went down.
Yeah.
Like the whole estate. It's because you said something about the ANC and it did.
Do you want to flip in?
I'm sorry.
Do you want it to happen again?
I didn't
Yeah.
mean to say that.
Is he ANC the gift that keeps on giving?
Can you guys? I'm sure the guys can hear us because like everything's confused now. At least you can see us.
Everything's confused. Why is everything confused? Can you guys hear us?
I'm sure they can.
Mr. Punisher. And now,
it's pretty cool that StreamYard kept it alive though.
Yes, if it gets.
Yes, the power did go out.
Yes.
Thanks, Reese, for updating.
Yes, thank you, Reese.
Sorting it out.
She came upstairs laughing at us, and for a moment I thought she had tripped the power. Like, it's so evil of you.
I know. Why?
Okay, they can hear us.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, not our fault.
Welcome to Joburg.
By the way, speaking of which, if you've missed it, I interviewed Natasha Mutsone last night. Very, very fun and interesting conversation. I basically, I was respectful, but I asked her some interesting and I say tough questions in quotation marks, but I managed to, I want to say call her out on her bullshit, but I wouldn't say she was bullshitting. It's a difficult one. You have to go watch it. It's very robust. It's very interesting. Please go check it out. It was last night. Jannie's busy sharing the thing using my profile.
I am Joe.
So please go check it out. Anyway, this is pretty much going to conclude. We have 5 minutes left. Do you guys have any questions related to travel and the future of tech? So like I said, this is going to be a series of the future of tech. We decided to do this because we had one episode about the future of tech in general, and we realized that doing that was not enough. There was just not enough time in one episode to cover all the different kinds of tech. So we decided to break up the tech and talk about each category individually for an hour. And this one was great. Jannie, thank you so much for doing the research. I think in closing as well, I can say I kind of understand how, at the beginning you said there's nothing exciting happening. And I agree. I don't feel excited about travel and transport. I think any of this tech is still maybe 50 years away from being perfected. And I don't know. I'm not that impressed. The Hyperloop, I get the tech. That's nice. It's cool. It's groundbreaking. But I don't think it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to use. Maybe for like a short time. It's like, I don't think it's a car invention. I don't think it's a wheel invention. I don't think it's an invention that's going to revolutionize an industry or humans. I think it's a nice thing to help humans, but I don't think it's going to be something that's like going to completely alter our path in the future. That's my thing with the Hyperloop thing. Flying cars, I think, is something that's definitely going to affect all of us. But who knows? Maybe by the time this, I don't know. I really don't know.
There's so much stuff happening though when it comes to the future, and I mean, researching this is actually harder than what I thought, because when you just go and Google,
because you can't research, that's why.
Don't be a noob. When you go and Google just for the future of something, like it's such a vague result that you get back, because a lot of the stuff is very far-fetched and not supported by anything that would make it sound possible that it could even happen. But yet when you take a step back and you look at just look at what's happened in the last 10 to 15 years, with Elon Musk as a good example. And I watched a very good documentary of Elon Musk the other day around how he started and where it started with his SpaceX, etc., etc. And then you kind of like see you try and fail, and then something happens to the breakthrough that they had last year by sending people to space. Obviously they've sent another thing to space, unmanned, but now manned, privatized space travel. He made that possible.
But that's for next episode.
No, but what I want to say is though, so that is the leaps that we are going to see with travel, with the future. I think like what you're saying is the stuff we're used to today, that's going to become more efficient, but I don't think we're going to have a 2.0 version of the car or the wheel or the something. Flying cars and things, I think it's a bit far-fetched in my opinion. I think the reality is more driverless cars, and we need to get used to not driving anymore, and you're just hopping on and hopping off in places.
But I like
to get
driving.
to places.
And you just said you're a petrolhead.
I know, I love it.
Could you really get rid of your buggy?
No, I won't. But what's going to happen though is you are going to have probably not quite Mad Max type of stuff, but you're going to have breakaway stuff where it would be outside of what happens in the mainstream of life, where we are back being retro and doing retro things, but as a sport or as a something. You're not going to have it as mainstream as what it would be at that time. I just think that's where it's going to be heading to.
Okay. Your thoughts on astro travel?
I don't know what astro travel is. I tried to Google for it now, Mr. Punisher, and astral travel comes up, and I don't think it's that. Astral travel. Is it astral travel?
Yeah, he might be.
He
might mean that because he's trying to be funny.
Out of body experience, is that what you mean?
I think most of the exciting tech we can look forward to is in the medical field. It's exciting, but it's also worrisome with some of the stuff. See, he was trying to be funny.
I think the most exciting tech. Well, we need to
robotics.
When he means medical, does he not maybe mean biotech? Because biotech is kind of like an extension of medical.
Yeah, but the only reason why I get excited about biotech is because I think of Resident Evil.
I was more thinking RoboCop, but okay.
Resident Evil, T-virus, shit goes bad.
Okay.
Virus outbreak of zombies.
COVID. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the zombies though, but
yeah. So yeah. I'm staying here.
Why?
If that happens.
This place?
Yes.
I have because we have lots of.
I thought it was reloaded for a second almost.
I should have brought 2 guns. I was unprepared. I should have brought 2 guns next time. Anyway. I'm actually looking forward to space travel and warfare, digital warfare.
I'm also looking. I'm looking forward to all of them, but I think the one that is going to be my favorite is robotics and biotech.
I'm not looking forward to robotics. Though,
why?
Because you're looking forward to it.
I think that people only watch this so that they can,
check Marley sleeping in the background. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that on the screen.
Why didn't you mean to? I'm talking about restoring hearing. That was.
I'm sorry, I clicked on it.
100% recovery of blindness.
Oh yeah,
tech assisting with it.
I saw. Yeah, let's save that for medicine. But imagine if your eyes could see.
What about regeneration, or
3D printing of body parts?
That I'm not comfortable with, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But not like being able to just regenerate, like Deadpool. Please tell me you've watched Deadpool.
I have watched Deadpool, noob. I have watched Deadpool. All I'm thinking is, would this Johnson & Johnson vaccine allow me to regenerate like Deadpool? Because then I would want to do that. Though. Hello, Marley. That's Marley, guys.
Snoring.
Now she's snoring.
Treating spinal injuries, etc., make people walk again.
100%. Nanotechnology in medical space is, I think,
we're gonna get there. Cool. I think we have done an hour, so let's keep it short. Thank you once again, Jannie. This was an interesting episode. I think it will be one of the few episodes where Jannie and I are actually in the same space.
It was the first episode we were in the same space, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's going to be rare.
It's going to be the last.
very mean.
I'm joking, Joe. I'm joking. I hope there's many more.
I don't know what to believe. But no, it's this was fun, and I love learning new stuff about tech. Just don't enjoy the abuse. I now know what Reese goes through. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Don't forget to go check out rebelstoreza.com. Please buy something you like, and don't forget to support my channel for as little as 40 Rand a month. You can support the channel, and after 6 months you'll get a hat. And remember, you can choose maybe this hat, and donate any way you want. Thank you. I think I'll be back on Thursday. I'm gonna have an interview with Hein Marks, who is the leader of ULA, United Liberty Alliance. He's going to be on the show talking about United Liberty Alliance. Why should we bother with them? Why should we trust them? All that stuff. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm going to ask him some tough questions. So yes, that's happening on Thursday evening. And then Saturday, don't forget, I'm going to be, this whole reason why I'm in Joburg is I am going to be at the farm murders protest against farm murders on the ground, live streaming the entire event from 10 a.m. or even 9 a.m. So please don't forget about that. And if I don't see you at any of those live streams, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you.
Why do you always aim for my eyes? Like, really?
This is payback.
I'm going for you.
See you at the next one.